Did I totally embarrass myself in front of Catherine, the Princess of Wales? I found some actual video of my interaction with her posted by somebody else, and I've got to say, guys, oh, it leaves a little bit to be desired on my end. A little bit embarrassed. Hello everyone, welcome to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany, and today we are going to be talking about just an overview of what I experienced when I met Catherine yesterday at the Dog and Duck, because I was looking through and I have so many more pictures and videos that I haven't had an opportunity to share yet. So I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a great opportunity to see some of what I saw and experience, because I think that would be really fun. I tried to do that a lot with the live stream last night, but I know not everybody likes live streams, and I feel like there's been a lot of other things that have happened since then. So I'm just really excited to go over with you guys what happened at the Dog and Duck, because I feel like there's just so many things going on right now, but it really was such a it was such a special, wonderful, and amazing experience, and I can't wait to give you guys a bit more details on it and share some of the videos I just kind of forgot to share or wasn't sure if they were worthy enough, because it's just a really, really neat, wonderful, and amazing opportunity to see a royal. And I've done this a couple times now where I've waited to see Catherine or William, and I got diddly squat. Somebody got in front of my video, and then another time, like, all these staff members got in the way and I couldn't see them even though my vantage point was good. So I feel like after trying this a couple of times, to have a epic success with no rain, great weather, just a wonderful, amazing picture, and then a selfie on top of that, I can't believe it. So I'm going to share with you guys a bit more of some of those pictures I didn't get a chance to share yesterday, and just share with you guys more about my experience, because I was reminded of some things as I was going through it. But if you guys haven't been here to Royal News Network before, like I said, my name is Brittany, and on this channel I provide compelling royal commentary about the latest news and sometimes a little bit of gossip too. In addition, I will be reviewing television shows and movies and sharing a bit about history. So if you guys want to subscribe and support all my stuff I'm doing here in London, that would be fantastic. After I'm done with this, even though sadly I did film this once and forgot to turn my second mic on, so it didn't work, I will be going to scope out a spot for the reception, because I heard Chris Jackson, royal photographer extraordinaire, is going to be there, and I just really want to get a picture of hopefully the foreign royals attending. They do not get enough love, guys, and I'm looking for, as things kind of settle, and once I'm out of my latest semester in school, I'll be able to get back and more into sharing about the other royals, because we don't hear about them quite as much, and I think they are amazing. So I'll be doing that. I'll be getting up early tomorrow morning to go down for the coronation. I don't know how things will look. Hopefully it won't be too crazy. I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. I'll be scoping out a bit tonight, and I'll have my handy dandy stool to make sure I can stand just a smidge above the crowd, although I think they maybe said you couldn't use it, but if nobody sees it because it's so tiny, will anybody know it's there? No. And I'm hoping to get, guys, just some amazing pictures tomorrow. It's going to be an incredible, incredible day, just so historic and amazing. I can't wait to take you guys along. And just a couple other things, I have a weekly newsletter, Royal Wires. So if you want to sign up for that, that would be awesome. I'll do a whole recap of my whole weekend. I also have a fashion channel, so I think maybe I'll do a live stream tomorrow. In addition to a live stream over the coronation in general, I'll just do a fashion one too, so that'll be really exciting. And then I also have an upcoming trip to Germany and Austria, so if you want to hang out in Germany and Austria with me and go see pretty castles like Neuschwanstein and Hohenschwangau and others in Vienna and Austria, that would be, oh, it would be so wunderbar for you to come. I think it would be amazing. So if you guys are interested in that, links are down below. Okay, guys, so let's just start at the very beginning, because I think everybody wants that. I know a lot of people watch the live stream, but some people aren't live stream people, which I totally get. So this is how the day went. So got up at about 7, and I was gonna get up earlier, and then I was tired and I had trouble sleeping. So I was like, okay, so I'll head over there and get there at about 8 o'clock. And I wasn't sure, there was no time given for this event, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, so it's at a pub. Pubs operate in the afternoon, generally in the evening. So my general consensus is that the earliest the event would start would be at 12. So it's like, well, if I get there at 8, at least I'm 4 hours ahead, right? And so I walk up there and I took a taxi because I just thought that would be just a smidge easier, just so I'm not trying to make sure I get the right stop and everything and figure out exactly where I am. Even though I operate the subway just fine. I have no issues with that. And so I got over there and I walked up, and there was only one person there. Because there's nothing worse than thinking you're early to a royal event and there's already 200 people there. No, no, no. I was there at 8 o'clock in the morning and there was only one other person there. Turns out there was actually a second and he got there at 5 a.m. and because he just wanted to make sure he didn't miss anything. So I was technically the third person, but I was so excited because I was like, yes, yes, I get to scope out my spot before anybody else. And let me tell you right now, scoping out a spot to watch a royal engagement, there's an art to it and it's a lot of chance. You gotta make an evaluation based on where the venue is and everything, where people might be, but you don't really know. And I will say too, when I got there, there wasn't really even any indication of where they would come from and where they would depart. Well, I kind of knew they would probably depart because they had a really, really long row of barriers. So I'm like, okay, since they told us in the press release they're gonna do the walkabout's gonna go down the barriers. So if you got there later, but you at least could get to those sides of the barriers, you would be able to interact with them. But the question was, okay, the dog and duck is here. I'm right here right now. Would it be better to be over there or over there or right where I'm at? I decided to go with right where I was at, which was basically right in front of the dog and duck and right before the barrier started to curve a bit with the street. And so I wanted to make sure I had a view of both doors because we had an indication they may go upstairs and they had been working on the stairs actually. A bit after the time I got there, they started really doing a lot of cleaning. They were doing all the windows outside and somebody was working hard on those stairs. Those stairs probably glisten now. Somebody was working really hard to make sure those stairs were the best, so I thought they would be going up the stairs. And so I made this choice. So I was like, okay, as long as I can view two doors, I can see upstairs, I'm good. I'm really glad I didn't go down to right in front of the curved staircase door because that wouldn't worked. So I was standing there and I was like, okay, so I'm over here. I'm like, I'm gonna wait. And I will say the first hour of waiting for royals to come, it's probably the most boring. Not much is happening, so there's just not even much to talk to the other people about necessarily. So, I mean, you can talk about your love for royals, but I like to just watching how the police would handle this because the barriers just were like in just they were just in a cross. So I'm like, well, they obviously won't let us be in front of the entrance in terms of like on the sidewalk where the entrance is. So I was like, well, where I'm at is good. So we're just chilling and then we're watching the police start towing people, which was all sorts of fun. And some guy said, yeah, I came down here and somebody told me to move my car because they're having this event. What is it? So we would get a lot of questions of who's coming? And we would go, I would say Catherine and William, the Prince and Princess of Wales. I would usually you would get 2 seconds of blank. You could tell they were processing. And I figured as soon as I said the Prince and Princess of Wales, oh, okay. So that was just a lot of fun to kind of explain to people. And you could tell some people were like, yeah, I totally want to do that. And other people were like super interested. They're like, oh, they're coming here? And there were even some dog and duck enthusiasts who were like, they're coming here. I go to the dog and duck a couple times a week. There was even 3 ladies and they worked in the building across the street and they were like, oh, we go to the dog and duck all the time. Well, I'm like, I told them, I was like, well, you just tell them you're regulars and that they owe you. And so they were like, oh, no, we can't totally do that. Although I think they were seriously thinking about it. So we were just standing out there. We saw them start cleaning the windows, like I said. And then one of the first things I noticed too is that the photographers were already there, at least some of them. And I think I recognized one or two, at least one of them from when I was actually in Boston. He was actually staying at my same hotel. And so I thought it was interesting to see them because I was like, why are you guys here early? You guys have press credentials. You don't need to be here until an hour or two before the event because it's not as important as it is for us. Like, I don't have press credentials. Although I almost debated later. I thought, oh my gosh, I should have taken my stool, which is this guy right here, my little stool. And I should have just put my name on it and just went and put it in the stack. Because apparently there's a little knowledge, inside knowledge of the royal photographers. So you'll notice, and I have noticed this before, is that their stools are in a line and they put them there and they leave. And I'm like, well, that's weird. And they told us it's a queuing system. So depending on if you're the first person there and you put your stool there first, then you get the prime spot. Or you get to choose whatever spot you want. Something to that effect. But I will say, when Chris Jackson showed up at about 10:30 or so, he just put his stool right next to theirs. didn't put it in the stack. So I think some royal photographers like Arthur Edwards, just some that are really, really well known, don't have to maybe perhaps abide by the queuing system, but other ones do. And I will say they were like all men. So I think UK, you guys need a female royal photographer. Just saying, because all of them were dudes as far as I could tell. They were all men. Not that that's bad, but I'm like, well, I could do it too. So they were all there, and so they had their kickstands, and obviously, I don't know why I keep saying kickstands, but I do. But they lined them up, and then here's the thing, guys. When royalty comes, not only do you get barriers and all sorts of stuff, you get clean streets. They wash the streets before you come. So the guy came by in his little itty bitty like cleaner thing, and he cleaned the streets, and then they also had a hose on the back, and then they power washed the sidewalks. So we had to move while they power washed our sidewalk. And then thankfully I did have the stool because I didn't want to put my backpack on the ground with all the wetness, and then also it's heavy because I have a big old honking lens in there. And so I was really excited because I was like, oh, this is another nice thing about having a stool. I could just put my stool up and it just hangs there, and I could put my backpack on top of it. So that was really awesome. And again, most of the time, most of the morning, it was pretty dull. And I knew we were there super early because actually there were no cops there for quite a while. I would say maybe the first hour or two. It wasn't until about 10-ish, I want to say, that we had our first group of cops arrive. So we do have a picture here of them, and and all of them were great, absolutely. My only worry is that sometimes they get placed right in front of you, and that ruins your shot. I had that at Westminster Abbey, so that was always a bit of a challenge. So we didn't have that this time, but it was really funny because he was a royal protection officer. He would talk in his phone, he'd go like this. So he would always cover his mouth every time he talks, and I totally understand that you don't want somebody reading your lips, and you don't know, how people are able to do that. I just thought it was funny because sometimes he was like far away from people, and he's doing this, and he's doing this, and so I just thought that was kind of funny, just kind of interesting because as initially it is kind of boring because there's just not a lot going on. There's cold breezes, and you're just like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? That's what that's why you question yourself. You question your sanity. You're going, why am I here? Why am I here? But then as things going, you start chatting with people. I really chatted with a guy named Peter and his daughter, Kate. He was from Yorkshire originally, now lives in Boston. So they had come in for the coronation. And so I just started chatting with him a bit, and we just analyzed how they were going to do things. So I was just curious again, because we had some people started to stand across the street from where I was. And I'm like, well, the pub entrance is right there. So Catherine and William have to get to the pub somehow. And there was just no way at that point how they had created the barriers for it to do that. So I just watched them going, you're going to have to move. Again, this is all guesswork. This is all supposition, but you do just kind of have to make an educated guess. There's so much chance to it. I couldn't control if Catherine or William came to our side of the street, but I could control where I stood. And I thought that my vantage point was pretty good. I sometimes wish maybe I had gone further over to the curb because then I could have seen them coming. But yet at the same time where I wouldn't have gotten their back of their faces. I got a pretty good full-on facial view. If I had been two people down maybe to my left, I would have gotten better. But still, not too bad. Not too bad. And I will say too, just for those techie people who are interested, this thing is heavy. And this lens isn't even that big. I mean, it's big and it's heavy, but it's not as heavy as this lens. I have a special strap, like a really, really thick strap, just so I can put this over my neck and not die, because it is very, very heavy. This is my coronation lens, guys. This is my 100 to 500 lens that I bought specifically for the coronation and royal stuff because I need to get that distance, and this is one of the few lenses that can offer you that level of distance. Some of these style lenses, they came out with a new one that I think actually has like different zooms and stuff, is like 10 grand. So this one's not that pricey at all. It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't that pricey. But the challenge is that you got this guy, and because of this extra battery pack right here, this thing gets pretty heavy. Actually yesterday my arm started getting, I was at the Crown to Couture exhibit at Kensington Palace, and my arm was starting to actually get rather sore. I had a harder and harder time holding it. And so I got this new camera because I do have another one that I'm filming with, but that one's more for video, and I feel like it works really well for video. But this one is for taking pictures because it does this. Can you hear that? So I knew I needed a camera that could take really, really fast pictures, and I didn't want to get super, super pricey. So this one was a great middle ground, and I think it did truly very well. I was closer this time than I was at the Commonwealth service. And so I think having this camera actually did help me a lot in a lot of ways, actually have better pictures. But the other challenge is that when you have people and they're moving, the new challenge I realized too when I was in Boston is that if you have your camera on autofocus, it tends to focus on the person that's closest to you, which sometimes will be the security guy, not Catherine. So I got a couple blurry pictures of Catherine, but it was really because my autofocus was focusing on the security guy in front of her, and I needed to adjust my autofocus to get behind her. I had a camera that wasn't quite as powerful. I think it was just a T3, so it was much lower on the spectrum. Why I'm telling you guys all this, because I'm explaining why some of my pictures are in focus and out of focus. Because what I do is I have to put it in manual mode, which requires me to flip it over and then look through the viewfinder and adjust it. And as they move, I get them in focus, and then they come out of focus. And I get them in focus again. And I'm learning how to do that faster, but that is a process. I'm a little bit worried about the big lens because that thing is almost too heavy to actually hold both of them, especially with the extra battery pack. I don't know if I could do it and do the manual focus because I really want that balcony shot. But I do have something that'll help me do that. It helps me steady the camera and gives me a little bit of, it's not a tripod, it's a monopod basically. And so it moves easier, but you can also set that big weight on there too. And so it just will help me get that shot and not worry about quite as much of holding and manual. But that's just to tell you, to get some of these pictures requires a lot of work. And again, you can just use your camera phone. The vast majority of the people do, but the bigger cameras are better. They just are. So let's get into some of the pictures I got of Catherine and William. And so to start off with, what I will say as well, you can see some of the royal photographers and the big old lenses that they have, which are even more impressive than mine. This one guy, he had 3 cameras around his neck, including the massive one. He's the one actually holding up that big old lens. He has 2 other cameras around his neck too. I don't know how he's doing that because that's just a lot of weight. And we all of a sudden started seeing the camera guys start to move. And I knew that would be our indication that Catherine and William were coming. But I'm like, but where's their car? Because I was like, just expecting the car, and somebody goes, oh, I can see her, she's in red. I'm like, what? And then I realized they were walking down the street. That is something I did not anticipate at all. And so the first picture I got, you could just see the tinge of red in Catherine's jacket. It's more of an orangey red. I think she looks fabulous in it. It's actually a really fabulous jacket. And you can see them walking down the street. And so you can also see me attempting to get them into better focus. And then we sort of have a good achievement moment there and an even better one. So it was just great to see them walk by. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're walking towards. And you can tell as well, again, when you're here, is that I love this particular picture. I think they both look great. But what do we have in the middle? We have the head of their staff member. And then on either side, we have their videographer and their photographer. So it's not only just the police that sometimes get in your way, it's their own team members. And so I was a little bit worried. I'll be like, darn, because that's what happened last time when I was at Boston for the Earthshot Prize. I was like, oh, they're there in the way, what the heck? And I love this picture too that I got. That I even realized I was being photographed or videoed was some guy from their team taking a picture of me while I'm taking a picture of him while their other photographer is taking a picture of them. Just the meta there is just kind of funny. And then obviously their staff members continue to move, and Catherine and William are going up to greet them. And then we are back in focus yet again. And Catherine and William stood there for a while. And my big regret, guys, is that I did not have my cell phone going at the same time, or I didn't have a separate tripod, which I've done before, and I put a video camera on it. I'm so bummed I didn't do that. I can't even tell you guys how bummed I am that I did do that. But I love that we see Catherine and we see her ring, and I'm bummed too that I didn't take the time when she was close by me to actually really look at her ring. Kind of kicked myself for that. And so I think they look fabulous here, and I think a lot of these pictures turned out really well. I'm so pleased, and I love this one guy. This elderly guy just kind of came out of nowhere and just like walked right by them. And I'm like, where is security? I don't think that guy was supposed to walk there. He seemed really oblivious, and you just wonder, what was really funny is that as we were waiting, and especially as the security got beefed up and stuff and people could no longer get down the street, you would always have some yahoo who comes up and goes, and he's just going to walk right through the police. The police are right there. He's just going to walk right through them. And then they stop him and he's like, well, I just want to go over there. And the police are like, no. They're like, but I just want to go over there. And they're like, no. I always think it's funny that everybody thinks they're the exception to the rule. And they all act all, you know, like, yes, I'm just going to walk right through here. And the police officer's like, yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. So that was interesting. And so I think those, again, I like this picture a lot with Catherine Williams smiling. I think that turned out really, really well. Then we got a little bit of wind picking up Catherine's hair, which I kind of like. And then she looked down the street, and I'm not sure why. You could hear how fast the camera goes. And so I wonder if she was trying to scope out that guy who walked past them. I don't know, because I don't remember there being like a noise that would have drawn her attention, but something obviously did. And then I love that William puts his hand on her back, and then you can tell here, you can see her dress, which I thought was really cool, her Susanna dress underneath. So I liked that shot. I thought that was good. And then you can't see it here, but this is obviously the dog and duck. And apparently, likely, William was drawing a pint here. Can't really see him. I could kind of, sort of see the shadow, but I didn't have enough wherewithal to figure out if I could get my camera to do the right thing to get the right shot. So, unfortunately. And so then Catherine and William were just chilling outside of the venue for a minute here, especially Catherine. I couldn't see William. Perhaps across the street they could see Catherine and William. All I could see was Catherine. I like this picture of her looking down. I think that's really cool. And then I like how she's kind of, you know, scoping out the crowd, because I'm sure to a certain extent she strikes me as somewhat of an introvert. And I'm sure having a big crowd like that, it is intimidating. It's like, oh man, you know, you got to gear yourself up for it. Because not that you don't enjoy doing it while you're doing it, because I'm an introvert in the same way. So I will enjoy an event while I'm at it, but I also can kind of dread going up to it because I'm like, oh man, this is going to be hard. So I kind of like that picture. I love this picture of her smile. I think that's fabulous. And this one as well. And I like that one too. So it turned out really well. And obviously they were this group of people at this cafe. And I'm like, well, I guess we could have hung out at the cafe, sat in seats instead of standing. I could have sat on my step stool, but I didn't. But yeah, so Catherine and William were looking over at them, and then they went over and greeted them. And I think that would have been kind of cool because you got Catherine and William at the same time close together, which would have been super, super awesome. And so Catherine and William, they went to move, and it looked like the sun peeked out for a bit because all of a sudden they're kind of washed out. And that happens again when you're in manual mode and stuff. I know this is very technical and I'm sure some people don't care, but I do find it interesting because I'm trying to figure out how to do this all. And I don't know how real photographers, like professionals, do it in like news media and everything, because this requires constant adjusting. And I'm just barely dipping my toes in. So I had give mad props for anybody who does this professionally, because I'm sure they do get shots like this, but they also get a lot of amazing ones too. And this does require like technique and timing and being really, really fast on adjusting things and knowing just what to adjust, which is crazy to me. So they were walking towards them, and then I also have a video of that, so go ahead and check this out. right, guys, I'm so excited. I got Captain walking like right past me, which I thought was awesome. Although it wasn't, again, I was actually holding my camera at the same time. You again could hear the click, click, click. And so, yeah. And so then I got a couple pictures of Catherine talking to people in the crowd. And I wish I had put a longer lens on here. I kind of wish I had done a couple things differently. I wish I had brought both my cameras so I could have a camera with one lens and a camera with a different lens, so I could get some of those longer shots, because I have one that went up to 200. The one I was using yesterday only went up to 100, but they were so close I didn't see the need to put on a bigger lens at the time. But for this instance, I kind of wish, and this is where I was standing on my step stool. And there was some gentleman who got all on me about using my step stool, which is not that high, guys. It's really not. And I'm like, well, I did get there early. I did want to get my pictures. I'm not really trying to block anybody's way, but sometimes that's kind of what happens, I'm sorry to say. And obviously you can look around me. And obviously if I was really tall, there's nothing you can do. Anyways, but it was nice because Peter, the guy who was standing next to me, he said to me later, he's like, that guy was such a jerk. And I'm like, thank you. I was like, I got there early. I wanted my pictures. And that's kind of what I told him, because I've had some pushy people before at these events, and it's just good to stand your ground because some people will push all over you. And I'm like, I'm here to get something specific, and to me this is a job, so I want to be able to do my job. That's kind of how I look at it. So, got some amazing pictures. Here we got Catherine pulling her hair back with Big Blue, her sapphire ring. And so yeah, it was just great to get a couple of these pictures. I really like this one with her smiling. I think that turned out super well. And then I like this other one too. And again, you can see actually if you go through some of my pictures, in certain instances, if you put them on a video and put them at a certain speed, it's kind of like that flip book, they would look in motion because that's how fast the camera goes. So that's kind of cool. So go ahead and take a listen to a couple of these videos here. So a couple of them are further away and then they get closer. All right, guys, I liked that first one. You could hear a bit of her.
Yeah. Olha o William, do lado.
There must be a very busy flight. Oh my gosh, there's some fellow Americans.
Ele está no copo junto com ela.
Have you come with family? Oh, does she? Yeah, that's very nice. Sorry, I always get really close.
Can I get a selfie? I'm late to my meeting.
Thank you. Lovely.
And then I loved this second one where she talked about, she's like, oh, I don't want to be too, I always get too close for the selfie. I just love that. And so this one's made the rounds quite a bit, but go ahead and take a listen here.
What are you going to do when I'm here? Do you know? You'll work it out. But it's really good. It's so nice to see all the funding starting to go up, and yeah, everything's starting. Yeah, I am absolutely slightly nervous as well. There's a lot. Hi, you're very nice to meet you. Hope you enjoy it. I was just saying, make sure you find yourself an umbrella because it might rain over the weekend.
Yeah,
it's just only in the best of British way. Yes, if you can manage to. Can you do it?
All right, guys, I really like that. And here's the moment, guys. Somebody else was behind me and videoing me and posted it. And they could hear my interaction with Catherine. And you can hear my little voice going, can I get a selfie, please? I laughed when she was talking. And I interacted, but I think I was just like so starstruck. I had my mind focused. I wanted my selfie. Forgive me, but I wanted my selfie. So go ahead and take a listen to this little bit here and you can hear me asking Catherine for a selfie.
Hi, everyone. Very nice to meet you.
Yes, so there it is. There it is. And what's so unbelievable about this moment is that Chris Jackson got that picture. He got a picture of me taking a picture with Catherine. And because of that, and because I have a bigger-ish following on Twitter, because I had those two images, I had my selfie and Chris Jackson had his picture of me taking my selfie with Catherine. It was really easy to connect them, and the Daily Mail ran with it, which is super exciting because I think my dad was one of the first people to go, "You're on the front page of the Daily Mail." And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. It's so cool. I feel like it's like crazy. So it was just really, really cool moment. And I will have to say another announcement about my selfie. I made it into the Daily Express, y'all. There I am. Oh, and that's my selfie. It's not the Chris Jackson picture. It's my one. I officially now, my picture, one of my pictures has officially been published in the Daily Express. So I'm a published photographer, y'all. I just think that's so fun. There's something about, if you don't know, it kind of in the journalistic and also in the academia world, it's publish or perish. Basically, you just need to get your stuff on something physical, and that's just a huge factor in things. So that to me is like huge crowning glory moment achievement, is to be in the Daily Express. I have 3 of them now. 3. I may buy 2 more so I can at least have 5, and I'm going to probably frame that entire spread just because that is A, just so cool, and B, it's like, oh. And I didn't like highlight my logo too much. I was wearing my jacket with my logo, a different one, but I didn't highlight it too much because I didn't want Catherine to think either that I was a journalist trying to get a story, because I wasn't really in that moment. I mean, obviously I'm using it for my channel, but I felt like I can compartmentalize. In that moment, I was a fangirl. I just wanted a picture with Catherine. I stood up there for so long, and if I had the wherewithal enough to really ask a question, I probably would have tried to, but I just kind of failed at that moment, as you can see. So yes, so I definitely did, I feel like, fail a bit there, but I can compartmentalize, which is what I try to do with this channel. I can generally report on things and add a bit in commentary, or I can do just commentary. And obviously I don't ever hide my biases. I don't really, but this was a moment to me where it's like, I have been following royals for 10 years. I just wanted a picture with Catherine. If I can get a picture with Maxima this weekend too, my trifecta of things will be like awesomeness, or maybe in Letizia too. That would be really cool. That'd be really cool. Or seeing royal ladies in tiaras. That would be awesome as well. So just saying, guys, that to me, it was just a super exciting moment, and something that I will absolutely treasure. That's the selfie's gone like viral. It's like, I have had a couple of people tell me that they saw it on Australia news, it was on Great Britain news and stuff like that, and people have seen videos of me at the event, which is super exciting, and it proves too that I was there. Yes, I was there. So that is just so exciting. So yes, I'm super stoked about it all. I just think it's absolutely amazing. Then I have one other video here to share. This was actually one of the videos of the first woman who was there, who I think has an engagement ring like Catherine's, and she had the purple hair. So go ahead and take a listen to that here.
I did. I love that. Can I get a selfie with you? Did you do that yourself? No, I wish. I don't have the steadiness. The amount of steady hands you need to sort of feel the weather on. I can't believe this. I can't believe I'm meeting you. You look fantastic as well. Do you know what you're going to do this weekend? Come see y'all. Oh. Y'all. Well, y'all. Look out for you. Well, the hair does. Can I get a selfie with you?
Okay, and then I was also decided to follow the crowd down because I thought, well, maybe I could get on the end and get another picture or something. I should have known that that wasn't going to happen. That was just a pipe dream. There were way too many people there, and people were just crowding and stuff. And I did get a picture, though, of them leaving, and Catherine was on my side of the street. So go ahead and take a watch here.
Aliens are here.
I don't know yet. Somewhere probably higher up on the Royal Mile, just because I'll walk. I'm not sure yet. All right, so I just thought that was awesome, guys. It was a great, amazing day. It was so cool. I felt so amazingly blessed. I got so many wonderful comments on different social media and everything, and it was just such an awesome and exciting moment that I can't believe happened to me. But Yes, it requires a lot of waiting, a lot of guesswork, a lot of chance. There's no guarantee if you go to a royal event that they will shake your hand or interact with you. But I just got really, really lucky, and I just feel so blessed, and I'm so glad I got to share it with you guys. And so guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will get this edited. It'll get down to a reception. I still do want to do the Throne in the Stone video. I just don't know if I'll get to it, but I'll try. My goal is to try. It'll be shorter though, just about the coronation throne and the stone, because I did a bit of research on it and it is rather interesting. So guys, thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.